new book, The Intimacy of Power, and Alan joins me now. Alan, does the private secretary to a minister work for the minister or to civil service bosses?
Well, thank you for inviting me on, and a good question. And if I might remind you, you probably don't remember this, but in 1994, when you interviewed me to be your principal private secretary, that was one of the questions you asked me. And I think
my question's the same. Is your answer the same?
Well, I think it probably is. And maybe I'd give it better now than I did 30 years ago. But my answer would be that the principal private secretary, any private secretary, has to have a loyalty to both the minister and the department. But if those two loyalties come into constraint, the overriding loyalty should be to the minister, because that is the role of the private secretary, to ensure that the minister can get his or her business done and to support them. And there will be times when there is a clash with the department and someone has to stand up for the minister as well as the department.
I remember now, that was your answer. but does it stand the test of time in this sense in particular? You make quite a play in your book, early on in your book, about what happened under Boris Johnson. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, for example, if the minister found himself in a position where he might have broken the law, as that prime minister did, would the private secretary still be supportive of the minister?
No, I think that is the case where the private office at times has to flag up to the minister red flags in the case of Boris Johnson to say, however loyal I am to you personally, these are things you cannot do. And unfortunately, I think it reflects badly on the civil service that at the time of Partygate in particular, that didn't happen. And that was a failure of the private office. And I think, at least I hope, under the new government, they will take heed of that and some better standards and greater probity will come in. Because one of the things that struck me when I was thinking about this interview is, in the last week or so, Keir Starmer has appointed over 100 ministers, the vast majority of whom have had no experience of being a minister, including himself. And to whom do they turn for advice? In the first instance, they will turn to their private office, and the private office must be able to say, whilst I will support you, Minister, in everything you do, there will be some things I will say you cannot do or advise you not to do.